Welcome to part 1 of my International Harvester model MB50 stationary engine or baler engine restoration blog. This is a 1952 engine. It's currently seized. So far all I've done is pulled the head off. I've started servicing the carburetor, but the carburetor is not in that best shape. I have everything except for the radiator and gas tank for this engine. Everything else is either in the garage or here. There's the hood and back plate. I have the oil pressure tube, front grills, both grills, this hood panel, the dog legs, and the front grill. And also we're trying to find the belt pulley for that side and the correct hand crank. So I have the one for another Farmall cub tractor I own in the front. And this engine is seized at the moment. I have it soaking in PD Blaster to see if it will break free. This engine is going to get a complete rebuild. There was I drained the crankcase contents and I filled 1 pan of water and another half a pan of water and a little bit more of the oil, so this engine's going to need a full rebuild. This is going to be easy because it's just all Farmall cub parts in this engine. And the cylinder walls are actually very good, so I think this engine can be put back to original spec. There's no ridge, no scoring, nothing. I might be able to reuse these pistons, but I'm not planning on it. There's no ridge, just hone the cylinders and put standard size pistons in, standard rings. I shouldn't need to put anything different for bearings in it. I have 3 bolts that were broke. This one was already broke. Don't know when that one broke. It don't know how long ago that was, but it wasn't for me taking the head off. All of them came out except for these 2 that snapped off near the top, so these will be easy to get out. At least they should be in theory. I'm going to start servicing the magneto as soon as I get the engine turning. Then I'll take it off for restoration. And then I'll start servicing everything else on the engine after rebuild the governor assembly because that's seized. I'm going to put new bearings in the fan pulley. And just go from there and rebuild everything from the ground up. So it's not going to be too bad of a project. I've tackled worse, and when I mean worse, I've worked on some total roaches and we brought them back to original. And the gearbox, I'm going to restore that back. The gears are all in good shape, but I'm going to go right through it. Any new bearings it needs, seals, everything, go right through. This seal here might be the hard one to get for this end plate, but I should be able to buy one as long as I have the right inside and outside diameter. I should be able to get one. And probably the most challenging thing on this is going to be getting this front panel knocked back into shape, because this was left against a wood pile and some wood fell against it and crushed part of this screen panel. This engine is pretty darn tight. The only way I could get it to turn was with a what do you call it, a pry bar on the ring gear through the starter port, the starter delete window. And even then it was tight, so I'm not going to force it. I think this had stellite valves, and also the style that turn as they run. And I'm not 100% positive on that. That one was stuck up. I popped it back down. So this part 1 of the restoration blog. this engine. A little bit of history on this. It came from a hay baler that a friend of my family had, and he had this at his sawmill yard, sitting off in the front of the yard near the road. And he got a hold of me not too long ago and said, come pick it up if you can use any of the parts for your 2 cub tractors. So I went a couple days ago and picked it up. I gave him a few dollars for it, not an outrageous amount, not like I'm stealing it from him, so both of us made out pretty good. This date code on this engine is 421 of 52. There's the X codes everywhere, so it designates as a 52 engine. The engine serial number is 29976. The unit number is model MB50 7259 serial number. So I think this is a relatively early production engine. So it's, well, a 1952 baler engine. That's serial number for this gearbox assembly, which I don't know if this somehow this Corey corresponds to the baler serial numbers or not. He still has the baler. I might go look at that and see what's different on the baler from this engine, if the codes all match up. Everything here is identical to a cub tractor. Every part is identical. Still has a spark arrestor on it, which you can't buy anymore. This one is in rough shape. That pipe is rotted off, but I might try sleeving it, put a regular muffler on top, so I can save that spark arrestor. I'm going to have to have this piece welded along here. I think I know somebody that can weld that. If they can't, I'm just going to put a new manifold with a regular pipe on it and a regular muffler. So if you know of anybody that has a spark arrestor for one of these, or a place where I can buy a new one, I'd greatly appreciate it. I'd like to keep this engine as original as possible with all the original equipment, but where this engine isn't going back into a field as a baler engine, I don't really need a spark arrestor, because I'm not going to be having the hay around it to catch on fire and all of that mess. I'm sure it happened to a lot of guys in the past when they tried running without these. So I will cut this vlog off here and come back to you later on if something else comes up with this engine. And I really enjoy this restoration. I hope you all do too. Talk to you all later.